there, let's talk about how to successfully set up a low buy. As someone who has just completed their first year of a low buy in 2025, I definitely have some tips for you on things that I wish I knew at the beginning of 2025 that now, sitting here in the very beginning of 2026, I know would have helped me even just have a smoother ride and be even more successful. My name is Allison, and on this channel, I love to talk about intentional living, conscious consumerism, and how to live with more of the seasons and the cycles of the natural world. So if any of those things are interesting to you, I'd love if you subscribed and stuck around. So in this video, we're gonna go over the 6 top things that you've got to put into place so you can also have a successful low buy on your journey to being a more conscious consumer. My number one thing that you've got to do to have a successful low buy, and if you don't listen to the rest of the video and set up different systems and tracking methods for success, I feel like as long as you do this, you will have a more simple journey with your low buy. And that is setting your big why. Why the heck are you doing this? It's so much easier not to. It's so much easier to continue to mindlessly shop, scroll on your phone, think that you're kind of staying within a budget, but you're going out on the weekend and you're buying little things here and there. When you're on vacation, you give yourself a free pass. But when you settle on why are you actually doing this and you root in to those reasonings for yourself, it helps you get through the sticky points throughout the year. They are going to come. A year is a long time. I really suggest doing a low buy for a full year. I know a lot of people, say like a month is better than nothing, and I agree with that, but to really change these habits of how we shop and how we consume goods and how we think and value our money, takes time to retrain our brains and to learn these habits. That's what I have found. Way back in the time machine, the second half of 2024, I wanted to try a low buy because I thought it would be really helpful for me with lessening my screen time and saving some money. I didn't really set myself a lot of guardrails and parameters and rules. And because it's changing a habit, it's really important that we do that. But before you even get to those structures, I wasn't successful at that trying a low buy because I didn't really root into like why I wanted to do it. It's like, oh, I kind of want this and this, and this seems interesting. And I've always been more of a sustainable, conscious consumer, and I wanted to really like root in those lessons, but I didn't really crystallize it for myself. And I wasn't successful. So then at the beginning of 2025, that was the first thing I did. And coming back to my why of wanting to lessen my screen time of mindlessly shopping, when I was looking for cheap hits of dopamine, I would actually give myself real rest to help myself recover from burnout. And I wanted to align my values with my shopping. Things are only getting more expensive. In 2025, we saw tons of inflation increasing. 2026 doesn't seem to be any different. When I crystallized that and I had my why really set for me, it was so much easier to stay committed through the year. So take some time with your notes app, with a journal. Why do you actually want to do this? Why are you thinking about a low buy? Are you trying to get out of debt? Are you trying to become a more conscious consumer? You're trying to spend less time on your screen, mindlessly shopping. There's so many reasons that bring people to the goodness that is setting a low buy. And so sitting with yourself and defining that for yourself, step one is like, you got to do it. It truly, I believe, was the foundation that allowed me to be successful last year in my low buy. If you're curious about the rules and the systems that I had set up for myself in 2025, I will link that video down below if you need some inspiration for yourself. Be sure to subscribe because I'm going to be posting a 2026 low buy rules and parameters that I'm giving myself so that I can be successful, because I am definitely keeping this up because I have only seen benefits come from doing a low buy year. And I really hope the same for you as well. Tip 2 is you got to set up a tracking system, and a tracking system that works for you. What I did this year might seem cumbersome to other people, but because I was just setting a low buy on my own personal spending, not full household spending, there's so many ways that people can approach a low buy, but I just wanted to set some guardrails for my own personal spending, buying clothes, buying skincare, buying candles, things that I would buy for my own like pleasure and leisure. Those are the things that I wanted to track more closely. Because it was pretty simple and I only gave myself $125 a month, it's not a lot of money. I just used my notes app. So every single month, I would say what my budget was. I had $125. If I went to the thrift store and I spent $32, I made myself a little note, $32. If I went here, there, whatever, you get the point. I tracked all my spending. And then at the end of the month, I'd add it up, see how much I had left. If I had any left, it would roll over to the next month. Or if I spent it all, let's say like by day 10, I spent $125, then the rest of the month I was on a no buy. So I couldn't buy anything. So I couldn't go spending future months' budget. That was a restriction that I put on myself so that I could really build this habit of being a conscious consumer. I know there's a lot of people that find a lot of success with having 100% no buy, not buying anything for a full year, helping themselves get out of debt. And again, that's why it's so good to root in your why. Why are you doing this? Because for me, that wasn't really what I needed to do. What I wanted to do was learn how to be a conscious consumer and make that muscle just like a habit. Giving myself money that I could actually shop and work on this tendency that I have to overspend was really what I was looking for. You have to think of a way that works really easily for you. If you love Google Sheets and you have that on your phone, if you need a full-blown spreadsheet because you need to low buy your entire life with all your expenses, like I have a household budget with my husband for all of our bills and groceries and stuff like that, but this was really separate. This was for me. I just wanted to track it really simply in my notes app. But I'm telling you, if you do not track it, you will not be successful. Like that's the tough truth. Like I tried in 2024 to just kind of like monitor my spending. I was totally unsuccessful. That's why in 2025, I knew that I needed to track it because what we measure tells ourselves this matters. If you're not tracking it, you have more leeway to like let yourself off the hook. Oh, it was my friend's birthday. Oh, I went on this trip. Oh, excuses, excuses. We have to like allow ourselves to track our low buy. Let yourself like keep yourself on track and see where your habits are and see where you like to spend your money and what you actually like to spend your money on. I really recommend creating a system that works for you. Don't make it too cumbersome or overwhelming, especially if you're doing a more simple low buy of just like your own personal spending. Maybe try the Notes app or something else that works for you. A journal, putting it in your daily planner. If you're a paper planner girly, like just do something that you know will help keep you accountable for the entire year. Next is let the people in your life know that you're doing this. And the reason why I say this is because in my life in the beginning of 2025, I really only let my husband know. I didn't really let my friends and my family know that this was a thing I was doing. So when we were going out and, like, oh, this piece of jewelry is so cute, and oh, this and oh, that, in my mind, I was like putting the brakes on shopping, but I wasn't explaining why I was doing that. Allow your community to show up for you and help you. If one of your things where you overspend is eating out, that's something that you're going to put a guardrail for in your life for low buy. It's especially important to let the people in your life know that you're doing that so that they know when to invite you or let you know like, hey, this is a more expensive restaurant, but we want you to feel included, but we also know you're on your low buy, so they can support you in being a success. It's just really helpful to let the people in your inner circle know that you are going after this goal. They understand why your behaviors are changing, and then they can help you be accountable to that big goal you have for yourself. My next tip for you is you gotta set a time that you're gonna wait on your cart. If you are putting yourself on a low buy, and that includes online shopping, which a lot of us tend to go towards, especially if you're struggling with burnout, that's something that was definitely a part of my like healing burnout recovery. And so if online shopping is a issue for you, my number one, like besides setting that why for yourself of why you're doing this Lowbuy in the first place, having a time that you are going to wait on your cart 24 hours, 48 hours. Mine in 2025 was 3 days. I needed a full 3 days to pump the brakes on that rush in my brain that's like, get it, we want it, because I read this awesome book that was super helpful called Dopamine Nation. I've reviewed it here on the channel. And it talks so much about that, like that rush and the purchasing, the clicking, the buy now is where we get all of the good feelings. And actually, when the thing shows up to our house and we have to open the box and deal with recycling the box, and then we have the thing and we got to like find a place in our closet for it, like that's not actually giving you that cheap hit of dopamine that the buy is. So like our brain is like lit up like Las Vegas and is like, do it. We want the cheap hit of joy. And so for me, I had to put the brakes on that for a full 3 days. So if I knew that I wanted to order some linen pants from Quince, which I did this past summer, I shopped around, I looked at them, and when I finally decided on my, size and color and what style I wanted, I put them in the cart and then I waited for 3 days. Is this really what I want? It gives you a time to check on your budget. That's another key part of waiting on your cart. You can go to your notes app, you can go to your spreadsheet or whatever it is that you're tracking. How much money do you actually have? What's that going to come to? Do you have the budget for it? Just really make sure that you're shopping intentionally. That's why I love a Lowbuy, is because it's building the habit of being an intentional consumer and not just falling victim to that like lizard brain mind that the marketing machines like buy. When you put a pause on that and you really check in and you're like, no, actually that's what I want and I've set this budget for myself and I checked that I have it, calm when you go and buy it if you're buying it 2 or 3 days later. And so I really encourage you to push yourself for a 2 or 3 day hit, but you do you, wait on your cart. I know it's going to help you be successful. All right, my next tip, of course, when you're doing a Lowbuy, you have to set yourself a budget. Like I've shared early in this video, I set a budget of $125 a month. I couldn't go spending future months' budget. If I had already spent my $125, I went on a no-buy for the rest of the month. If I had money at the end of the month, it actually rolled over. So the next month I could spend, $150 if I had $25 that I hadn't spent. Having these rules of like how your budget is going to flow, how you're going to track it, of course you need to have in place so that you're really clear on how you're going to be successful. But one thing that I didn't have in place for myself that I wish that I would have is, if I mess up, then what? It wasn't until May of last year when I overspent my budget. I made a whole video on it. I will link it here if you want to watch a little story time of overspending on your Lowbuy and how I problem solved it in the moment. But what I realized is that I had nothing in place. I didn't write any rules for myself in January. So my tip to you is, when you're writing out like all your systems and structures you're putting in place, you're going to wait on your online carts, how much budget you have, does it roll over? If every month, do you just get 125 or however many dollars you have for yourself? And if you don't spend anything, does it go into savings? That could be pretty cool. Does it go to paying down debt? What are the systems and structures you have for yourself? But make sure you have something, because a year is a big commitment. Like we hear so much about how people set New Year's resolutions and then come February, they're not even working towards those resolutions anymore. I'm really proud of myself for like keeping up this Lowbuy work for the whole year. And I know that I was successful because I put systems in place for myself. But in 2026, I will make sure that I have some rules in place for myself of, if I mess up, what are the repercussions? What changes do I have to make, so that you don't just like constantly let yourself off the hook. We can give ourselves a lot of slack, especially when we're butting up against like a new habit that we're having a hard time setting for ourselves. I will definitely have more systems in place. I recommend that you do as well when you're setting up your Lowbuy. In the month of May, I overspent my budget about $30. So in June, I deducted that overspend amount, and then I started with, $98 or something like that. So I had less money to spend in June. But in 2026, I feel like I have to like maybe pay a penalty to myself in my savings account that like comes out of my Lowbuy budget. So I don't get to like use that money for clothes and candles and things like that. I need to like take it out and go pay a penalty to my savings account or something like that, just to make like a clear mechanism of, if you step over that line, this is the repercussion. I'm happy to say that it only happened once last year. Again, I feel proud of that, but I will definitely have something in place this year and recommend you do as well, for if and when a mistake happens, how are you going to handle it? My last tip for you is don't stop if you mess up. It would have been so easy. May, already 5 months in, it was getting hard. It was coming up on the summer. I was going to be traveling. It's not comfy to like learn a new habit, push yourself to grow and change in these ways. But because I was really rooted in my why of wanting to help myself recover from burnout, wanting to spend less time on my phone mindlessly shopping, because of those things, I kept going. I allowed myself to have my little pity party of like, I broke my rules. What am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? And then I moved on. I continued. I kept going at it, right? It's like if you stop going to the gym for a week or two, you go back. You don't just say, well, like now I'm never going for the rest of my life because I didn't go for those last 2 weeks. You recommit to yourself. Like life is a journey. Don't give up on yourself. When you mess up, reevaluate like what systems you need to change. When I realized when I overspent in May, it's because I was on a trip and I shopped that day. But in between each store, I didn't stop and reassess my budget. I had in my mind how much money I had. I shopped within that amount for the day. And then when I went to my notes app the next day to like update my purchases, I was like, oh shit, I overspent by $30. So now if I do that, and when I did that throughout the rest of the year, when I left that thrift store and before we went into like a cute little shop, I pulled up my notes app. Okay, this is how much I have in my Lowbuy. This is how much I just spent at that thrift store. So now I know how much I actually have left. And I moved on throughout my trip and my months that way. And so that was like the learning and the behavior change. So to be successful, but I didn't stop. Know that you're learning. Be gentle with yourself when you're learning, but also like put guardrails in yourself to keep yourself accountable. I know you can do it. Someone that definitely loved to just like scroll online when I was bored or feeling lonely or burnt out. I have changed that habit. It was not a super easy journey, but like because I had so much structure in place in the beginning, it felt achievable. And so that's what I want for you. And that's what I hope that this video will help you do, is map out and learn from my experience from having the first year of my Lowbuy be a success. I would love if you let me know if you're doing a Lowbuy down below, if you're committing to a couple months or the full year, any tips or tricks you have, if you've done them before, I would love to know, because I am crafting my 2026 Lowbuy rules right now. I hope that you will subscribe and stick around. And if you want to keep watching, be sure to check out this video here, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everyone.